In this lesson, we'll learn how to create a selection inside of Photoshop using Quick Mask Mode. Okay, great. So if you want to go ahead and open up the begin file for this particular lesson, you'll be able to follow along. So looking here at this particular image, we saw this image in a previous lesson, but we've got it flattened down now to where all of the layers are on a single layer with the exception of this paint layer. Now, we've learned how to use the marquee selection and lasso selection tools. We've also learned how to use the quick selection as well as the magic wand tool. But sometimes it's just flat out easier to paint a selection with one of Photoshop's brushes. Now, let me come over here and show you. Down here at the very bottom of your tool panel, there is a button right here below your background and foreground swatches, and this is going to enter Quick Mask Mode. Now, we need to know kind of what we're doing inside of this mode, so rather than just clicking on this, go ahead and double click on that with me, because this is going to access the Quick Mask options. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be painting inside this Quick Mask Mode, and the colored area that we're painting is going to indicate one of two things. It's going to indicate areas that are masked out, or it's going to indicate selected areas. Let's go ahead and leave this on masked areas right now. And you can see here the color we're going to be painting is sort of this red color at 50% opacity. So we'll just say OK to that. And inside of Quick Mask Mode, you can tell it's clicked when that little button looks like it's depressed here. So you can also come up here and look inside your document tab and see that it changes from RGB to alpha. So let's go ahead and grab our brush tool. Now, we're going to be going into quite a bit of depth on brushes here in an upcoming lesson, but let's just come over to this little drop down right here and select this particular brush right here with me. All right, fantastic. Now, we do need to, while we're inside there, let's go ahead and shrink that down just a little bit, because what's going to happen is if we take this brush and begin to paint, let's say that we wanted to paint kind of his silhouette here. So you can see here, using this brush, we can come in and start to paint, just like so. And I'm going to go ahead and just paint sort of his ear right here for right now, and I'm going to show you what this does. I'll just kind of paint in that really quickly. Now, when we exit out of Quick Mask Mode, we'll come over here and hit this again. So when I click on that, look what has happened here. We've made a selection using what we've painted here. Basically, the area we painted was not selected in our selection. So basically, we've got a selection of this entire canvas with the exception of the ear that I painted. Now, let me show you how I would utilize this if I was wanting to sort of isolate the background around this character. So we can start off with a selection. So in the case of this background, we'll just grab our quick selection tool, and I'm just going to kind of lightly drag my mouse around the background here, just like so. Now you can see that it went ahead and filled in the entire canvas, so I'll hold down the Alt key and just drag kind of a selection up through the middle here, so we can get something like that. Now, we've made a really, really rough selection. Obviously, we've missed his earring here. We've missed part of his ear over here, and just some areas just need to be cleaned up. So let's go ahead at this point and enter into Quick Mask Mode. Now, we can either do that again by coming down here and clicking on this button here, or we can just simply hit the key Q on our keyboard. So if I hit the Q key, look what happens. So the areas that I did not have selected have been colored in red. Remember our quick mask options here? We have those areas are being masked out. Now, I'm going to come in here, cancel that out. It knocked me out of Quick Mask Mode, so I'll enter back into that here. And now I can come down and select my brush tool, just like so. And we'll kind of zoom in on this. And now I want to shrink the radius down just a little bit more here. Maybe something like that. And we'll just come in and paint out his earring. We'll go ahead and hit undo and get a nice stroke that I'm happy with. We'll just do that kind of rough for right now. But you can see how advantageous this Quick Mask Mode begins to be. It's more intuitive inside of Photoshop to be able to paint things sometimes. The brush engine inside Photoshop, as well as just the natural feel of painting things, is very, very intuitive. So we'll come over here and just kind of paint this. You can see here sort of an area was part of that selection that really isn't part of his ear. So I'll just come over and grab my eraser and shrink that down a bit. And we can come in and erase that selection away. just like so. Come back over and grab our brush tool. And we can just come back in here and kind of fill in this area of his ear where that was missing earlier. And we can kind of come back up here. Now you can see there's some areas in his hair that weren't really selected very well. So you can see kind of the little black fringing around his head where his hair is kind of protruding beyond the red highlighted areas. So we could come in and continue kind of painting along his silhouette if we really wanted to start to tighten this up. But if I were to zoom out on this, actually I spotted another spot. Let's come in with our eraser again. And I'm going to come in and just erase this little piece right here. And maybe this piece here. Just kind of touch that up some. Fantastic. So now that we have really come in and sort of polished our selection up, we can now exit out of quick mask mode. We can just simply, again, hit the Q key on our keyboard or hit the quick mask mode button in the tool panel, and voila, we have now refined our selection. So in the case of this, if we were kind of like in previous lessons wanting to come in with our brush with maybe a black color, and on this paint layer, maybe we just kind of want to black out the background. So we could come in here and paint this in. It's actually going to be much quicker if we were doing something like that to come over here and just go to Edit and Fill. And I'll go ahead and switch this to my foreground color, which is currently set to black. And that's going to quickly fill that area in. So at this point, I can hit Control D on my keyboard and escape out of that. And you can see here how we've basically come in and filled in the entire background around our character. Now I've got the layer opacity reduced to 70%, but if we ramp that back up, you can kind of see what the effect of that selection has had on kind of what we've painted on this layer right here. All right, fantastic. So in this lesson, we've learned how to utilize quick mask mode here inside of Photoshop. Now at this point, we're going to go a little bit different direction. One of the strengths of Photoshop is its ability to make a variety of different adjustments to images. So in the next lesson, we're going to learn about some of these adjustments and how we can apply them in a non-destructive manner to our Photoshop files.